Yes, it's another United Kingdom talk. A warm welcome along to you. My name is Chris Reardon. What have we got to talk about today? Well, good news. Good news was, oh, by the way, last couple of shows, those of you listening on the podcast and indeed watching the video might have noticed the sound of my voice was a little bit lower. That's because I'm just getting used to the new little microphone on there, so I'm sorry about that. We'll whack it up from this show. I hope it's sounding okay now. All right, it was a little bit low. You had to turn your volume up a bit more, didn't you? Which, of course, means that you probably used a little bit more electricity, but just a negligible amount, okay? Although it does annoy me, you know when all these people say a negligible amount, whether they're talking about electricity or money or something like that, they say negligible. But all these little negligibles add up, don't they? Eh? And it's costing more and more. I'm sorry about that. I've turned myself up just a little bit more, okay? So you haven't got to touch your volume thing. Or is it? Now, good news. Robert in Iceland has written an elf story, which will be in several parts. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to be altogether. Okay, Robert in Iceland has written a story of elves, an elf lifestyle, and part one of that will be coming up in this program. I mean, it just gets better and better, doesn't it, eh? People joining in like this. If you want to join in at any time, please feel free to do so. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. A couple of people asked what this picture is. I've got a picture behind me, which is like a picture of the various different places in London. We've got Big Ben. We've got the Post Office Tower right in the background. We have St Paul's Cathedral. We have Tower Bridge and various other little bits and pieces. Now that picture was an old ITV logo, ITV being one of the television companies here in the UK, about pre-1992. So we're going back over 15 years now. And as I say, it was one of the ITV companies, and that was, for many years, their station ident, or their symbol. Now, somewhere, I was fishing around on the internet one day, and I found the old logo, minus the words, because it would have the words Thames going across the middle there, the middle of the picture. Now, I actually found the logo minus the word Thames. So that is what that picture is behind me. Those of you that are watching, if you're not watching, then you get the general idea. It's, as I say, it's actually Big Ben, St Paul's Cathedral, and many other things. And then there's a reflection of the top bit on the bottom of the picture as well. And I've always loved that picture, and it really sums up what London is, and the many beautiful buildings that you'll come to see if you ever come to London. Okay, so that's what the picture is behind me, those of you that were asking. I want to do an email first today from Tom. Hello, Tom. Tom Harris, who presents his own podcast, tomharrisusa.com. Very similar to this show. Talks about his life, what he's been doing, that sort of thing. All right, once again, tomharrisusa.com. And Tom says, ahoy, Chris. Actually, Tom will be here at the moment. Because his show's recorded 1 week ahead, I should by now have met Tom, okay, who would have appeared at my karaoke night. Tom's from the USA. So, but can't talk about it yet, because actually I haven't met him, although by the time you see this, I have. It's all very confusing, it really is. I wish I had, I wish I was brave enough to record my show on the day it's due out, but I start worrying. I do worry that something's going to go wrong, and therefore I need a little bit of a buffer to sort anything out, you know? Anyway, Tom says, hello, Chris. Ahoy, Chris, he says. Ahoy. Ahoy, my shipmates. You're starting to sound like Captain Birdseye. And actually, Tom, looking at your photograph, I think you'd make a very good Captain Birdseye. Rum Captain Birdseye, rum Captain Birdseye. I know the tune, do you? Rum Captain Birdseye. Incidentally, this programme is not sponsored by Birdseye or Findus or Iceland or any of those frozen companies, dear. Not that there's anything wrong with frozen food. My freezer is stacked. It is stacked full of food. The only trouble is, I mean, I've got vegetables in there, frozen vegetables, that have been in there for 6 months. Are you supposed to eat them all by then? Or don't they ever go off, you know, stuff in the freezer? I often wonder that. I don't know why I went mad. Do you remember? You must remember. I went mad about 6 months ago and filled up my freezer. Cost me about £150, but nevertheless, I filled it up. Well, it's still full up. I don't seem to be getting the food very quickly. Which is a good thing, I suppose, because what's happening is that I'm going out down the supermarket and buying fresh things. Like fresh chicken breasts. Oh, no, I don't. Yes, I do. I can hear you screaming at me. I hope you buy the free-range ones. Of course, dear. The chickens I eat have had nice little lives running around pecking. They're pecking at the floor, pecking their bits off of the floor. Free-range organic chicken breasts, and blimey, aren't they expensive? It's about £4.50 for 2. It's a liberty, that's what it is. Ripped off by chickens, that's me. Ripped off by chickens. It's been going on for ages, me being ripped off by chickens, let me tell you that. Oh dear. They come in, they sit there in those frozen, or not those frozen, in those cool refrigerator cabinets, and they look at me and they look at me with their eyes, those young chickens, and they say, buy me. They say, buy me. And how can I not, when they're looking at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, these chickens, buy me. So you have to hand over the money, and that's it. You really do. Now, Tom's at pardon? Chickens. You know what chickens are? Yes, that's right. And, what's your point? Ari, the new studio, Tom says. I love the new studio setup. Very classy. Well, it's about to get more classy, Tom. It's all happening, dear. It's all happening. Here I sit on my lovely office chair in the office, right? Not in the office, in the Britannia studio. Should it be Britannia or Britannica? I'm not sure. Britannia, because we haven't actually named it yet. We ought to have an opening ceremony. I could have a celebrity come round and open the studio. Now, what celebrity could I have to come round and open the studio? I know, I'll do it. I should be the celebrity to open my own studio. No? Is that not good? Who would I like? Oh, William Shatner. Yes, he was on Star Trek, of course, the original Captain Kirk. Boston Legal, that was very good as well. Boston Legal. Anyone see that? Who else? Great British actress Judi Dench. Dame Judi Dench. We'll have her around here. Shirley Bassey. Oh, yes. If I have to sing another song or take another bow, it wouldn't bother. Oh, I can't remember the words to that. Yeah, we could have them. ABBA, get them all here in the studio. Bea and Betty coming in here in their wheelchairs. Be quite nice, wouldn't it? Who else? I would love to have Michael Jackson. We've missed that one now, though. I don't know who else, really. Someone's screaming at me, Madonna. No, I like Madonna, but not for opening a studio. You know, gotta be massive. I mean, Madonna is a massive star, but to me, she's not on the same scale as Shirley Bassey. It's an age thing. It is an age thing, I think. So that's what we need. Some celebrity to cut. We'll have a red ribbon that will be cut, and a bottle of non-alcoholic champagne because I don't drink. No. Why do we have to have the champagne? Can we not have a flask of tea? Does that sound about right? A flask of tea to open the new studio. I mean, it sounds all right to me. My blooming studio, I do what I want, thank you. No, you said, I love the new setup, Tom says, very classy. I hope you do. There was concerns, actually, from a few people that these plants, I've got plants next to me. I don't know what they are, they're very tall, right? But there was concerns that the plants were getting rather close to me and might attack at any time. Do not worry, these plants are very friendly, okay? They will not attack. Attack, said the Daleks. Attack! Do not dispute with the Daleks. We've had no Doctor Who this year, have we? Hardly. I think one episode, wasn't it? One of the bank holidays. We've had one episode of Doctor Who this year. It's I've got terrible withdrawal symptoms. Sometimes I go downstairs in front of the telly, and I sit downstairs on a Saturday night in front of the telly around about 7 o'clock, and he's not there, and I start shaking. I've got withdrawal symptoms. I start shaking, and I fall down on the floor, convulsing in fits, because Doctor Who is not on, and I have quickly had to take out one of my old Doctor Who DVDs and put it on quickly. My favourite Doctor Who episode ever would be going back about 25 years. It was with Jon Pertwee, and the particular episodes were called Planet of the Spiders. Does anyone remember that? Planet of the Spiders, Jon Pertwee. It is the funniest thing ever. Because he's got these plastic spiders that are quivering. A little bit like I was on the floor Saturday night after my Doctor Who withdrawal symptoms. And they are the most unrealistic spiders you've ever seen in your entire life. You must try and have a look at that on YouTube, okay? And tell me what you think. Is it me? Is it me? I mean, are those spiders actually quite authentic looking? Is it me? Let me know. Type in Doctor Who Planet of the Spiders and have a look. And then let me know. With my email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, Tom's saying he likes the new setup. Tom also says, I think you should call it the parlour studio or the conservatory. No, don't like those two, Tom. Sorry. Conservatory, well, you'd have to be surrounded in glass, wouldn't you? There's no glass. The only glass here is the window on the left. And I have to close the curtains when I'm recording the show, right? Because the daylight is stronger than the big light I've got in front of me, okay? And therefore, it looks like only half of my face is lit. So I actually have to close those curtains when I'm recording the show. So it's just me and a big light in front of me. And that's how it works. What was the other one you said? The parlour studio. No, I don't get that. The parlour studio. No, I don't like that one either, I'm afraid. Oh my God, there's a spider's web up there. I've just spotted a spider's web. I leave them usually. Do you? The entire place has got spiders' webs and insects crawling around everywhere. Eh? Oh, it's not that dirty. I'm only joking. Is there any spiders' webs anywhere in here? There's only one up there. Or is it a mark on the wall? It might be a mark on the wall. I don't know how a mark got up there. Probably when I was moving bits and pieces around in here, ready for the setup. No, sorry, Tom. Don't like those two suggestions, but thank you for them anyway. He says, you can be the new Alistair Cook and rename the show Masterpiece Reardon UK. No, don't like that, Tom. Sorry. Tom, I think you might have lost the plot a little bit this week with your emails. I don't think you're quite with us, are you? You're not in touch. Not in touch, Tom. Oh, dear. Yes, it's going to change a little bit more even, because I decided to chuck out, well, I haven't chucked it out, I've decided to get rid of the double bed that was actually in here. Now, you couldn't see it on the show, but it was actually positioned on the against the wall on the other side, but it was taking up so much space, and I couldn't do anything in that corner. And I thought, no, time for the bed to go, because I don't think anyone is ever going to live in this room again until I leave, or worse still, pass over to the other side. Although as I said before, I've no intention of going for at least 500,000 years. Okay? And I shall continue to talk for every last minute of those 500,000 years. I don't think anyone else is going to live here. So I got rid of the double bed. And that is actually downstairs. I'm very proud of myself. I was butch yesterday. I managed to get an entire double bed and the mattress down the stairs. Thank you very much. I could be a removal man, one of those big butch removal men who go in vans. That's it. One of those big butch removal men who drive around those great big vans that they overprice, dear, when you want to move. How much is it to move nowadays, dear? Thousands of pounds just to have a few little old boxes put in a van. We're being ripped off left, right and centre. We're ripped off in this country. Anyway, so I managed to get the entire bed downstairs with... I wonder if that's what it is up there. Can I just have a quick look? Just a minute. Do you know what? It's not a spider's web at all. It's a mark on the wall. Yes, it's a mark. I probably did that when I was trying to move the bed downstairs. Got the whole thing downstairs along with the mattress, and that is now sitting in the hallway and the living room waiting for collection on Thursday. And before you say it, no, nothing has been wasted. I checked. I rung up the British Heart Foundation. Do you remember that shop? The one, say, when I lost the keys in the other week. I walked in there a couple of days ago and I said, oh, do you take beds? Oh, yes, please. He said, does it have the kite mark to say that it's fire resistant? I said, yes, it has a little label on there. It says fire treated or fire resistant, something like that. He said, yes, would be interested in that. I said, how does that work? Do you come and pick it up? He said, yes, please. Have you got a phone number? So he gave me a leaflet with a phone number, which I brought home. I rang the next day. They were a bit slow in answering, you see. Hello, British Heart Foundation, can I help you? Hello, my name's Mr. Reardon. I've got a nice double bed for someone can make use of. Oh, okay, sir. Can you tell us where you are, please? Yes, I'm in Bracknell in Royal Berkshire. Okay, sir, what road and street name? So I gave him my road and my door number there. Okay, sir, we can come Thursday. We can come Thursday. And, oh, yes. What time would you like, morning or afternoon? I said, could I have morning, please? Now, I usually have stuff delivered in the morning, you know, because then it's all out of the way, isn't it, eh? It's all out of the way, and you have the rest of the day ahead to enjoy your activities. Who is it? Yes, I'll have morning, please. Okay, sir. When we come Thursday morning, we can come between 9 and 1 o'clock. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you then. That was it. Marvellous. So Thursday, actually, you know, you've done us both a favour there. You've got rid of something I don't want, and plus, it's going to help someone who hasn't got much cash, which I'm really pleased about. So that's what's happening. They're coming to collect the bed. So then I thought, well, occasionally I do have people stay. I mean, James Dean from matineeshow.co.uk, James Dean from matineeshow.co.uk, does appear to be making quite a few visits here to the Britannia and Mirable Studio Complex here in Royal Berkshire. What's all that about? I don't know why he keeps coming down. I've got a feeling, right? Got a feeling, I have a feeling he's run out of food at his house and he only comes down here to raid my cupboards. Because whenever he comes, there's always something missing when he leaves, you know. Terrible, isn't it? Always something missing when he leaves. And he keeps coming down on the £1 megabus, which cost him like £2 to come to and from Manchester. I mean, you can't even have a McDonald's for £2, can you? Oh, talking of which, I'm sorry, I have to confess a sin. I have to confess a sin and let you know that last night I had 2 burgers. Now, I don't know what all that was about. I do carry it last night for me, might not be for you, but for me last night it was Monday, okay? And at the end of, so I do karaoke on Mondays at Belushi's Bar in Hammersmith, always a good night. And last night, I have to say, must have been the worst singers we have ever had there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes no. Actually, that's a lie. Most of the time, we have very, very good singers there. In fact, virtually all the time, we have very, very good singers there. Last night, some of the worst singers I've ever heard in my entire life. Possibly due to them being so drunk and outrageous. It's shocking, it really is. The other thing last night, Gwen wasn't with us last night. She's not too well at the moment. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with her. But she hasn't been now for a couple of weeks, and I do communicate with her on the phone, and she's got to have some tests or something. And she was saying, because Gwen is over 70 years old, right? And she was saying to me the other day that throughout her life, she's never really had anything going wrong with her. Okay? She's always been a fairly well woman. And to suddenly have something that kind of puts her in bed, she said it is awful. She doesn't know what to do with herself. And she keeps getting up and walking around the house. So I'll keep you informed of that. I hope she'll get better soon, because she is greatly missed by all the customers in Belushi's. She's a lovely lady, Gwen, and I do intend to get her on the show again at some point. And perhaps I'll go around there with a camera and we do the whole thing, you know, like that'd be quite nice. But yeah, she wasn't there last night either, so sadly missed. We did have a couple of good singers in there last night. In particular, a girl called Kelsey. She was really good. Kelsey was her name. Two best singers last night, Kelsey, and all the boys fancied her. All the boys in there fancied Kelsey. They're all coming up. You know, because they all come up to me and say, oh, who's that girl? Do you know if she's with anyone? I mean, how am I going to know? Eh? Everyone fancied her. Let me think. Dave, who was extremely drunk, was asking me who she was. Pretty boy Steve was very impressed with her. I wasn't impressed by that because I thought he only had eyes for me at one point. But it doesn't look like it's the case, does it? Eh? His eyes were all over her. We got a new barman called Chris, who has a great personality. Young Chris behind the bar. He's going to be another one. What all the girls are drooling over him, I suppose. There's just no one for me, is there? There's no one for me in this sad, lonely life, as I've said so many times before. It's not fair. Now, how on earth did we get onto the karaoke nights? I'm just trying to think now. How did we get onto that? Oh, I don't know. I was talking about my bed, wasn't I? British Heart Foundation. Oh, that's it. Anyway, back to James Dean. So he's coming down again soon, James Dean, to visit me. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. I haven't got a bed now. Now, I do have a single, camper bed in a cupboard. But quite frankly, James Dean would not fit on that, okay? He's too tall. He'll be about 6 inches hanging off the top of the bed. His head will be over the top of the bed. He'll have 6 inches at the bottom of the bed where his feet are hanging over. And he'll probably have 6 inches on either side on the width of the bed where his fat bum will be hanging over. So not really... So not really big enough, that bed, for him. So I then thought, maybe I need a sofa bed for here. So I went online to my favourite department store, John Lewis, had a quick look, and blow me down, they've got a special offer sofa bed on there for £350. Which looks quite nice. It's like a beige colour. Which, of course, if you've got lots of children in the house or cats or things like that, you know, would clearly get dirty very quickly. But it's only going to be me and whoever stays here. I shall have to make sure that James Dean, when he does come and stay here again, has a shower before he gets into my new bed. I'm not having dirty people getting in my bed. What a cheek, dear. Not having it. So that's now been ordered. And that should be coming in a week's time, I believe. A week today, actually. So, hang on. 1, 2, 3. So, probably by this particular show next week, whatever day you watch this or listen to this, by this show next week, we will have the new sofa bed here in the Britannia studios. Be quite nice, wouldn't it? And then my nice office chair can then go back into the studio, because at the moment it's most uncomfortable in the Mirable studio. I'm sitting at the moment on a kitchen chair in there because this chair is in here. So we need to replace that, okay? That's going to be replaced. So this will be going back in the Mirable studio, and in there a brand new sofa. I mean, it just gets like a Jerry Springer show all the time, doesn't it, eh? So that's my news there. Tom, new sofa bed coming into the studio. Oh, and also, I'm going to spend a little bit of money on a proper video light. Now, I've been looking online at video lights, and I'm not sure. I think I've come across something which looks like a big square box with a piece of white muslin stuff. You know that material? Is it muslin? Muslin? I think it's muslin. What's it called? You know the white material, okay? Bit like a sheet. This hangs in front of this box, and behind it you have various fluorescent lights to light the studio. Now, I don't know if I need one or two. I'm not quite sure. So I think I'm going to ring up, because they're not actually that expensive, so I'm going to ring up the video lighting place where I saw these advertised, and I'll ask them. I said, well, I sit about, I tell him I'm about 8 foot away from the camera, and the wall in front of me is, I suppose, let me have a look. The wall in front of me is about, it's not that far actually, it's only about 8-9 foot away from me, so I have a feeling I don't know if I'll need one directly in front of me, or will I need two, one either side. I don't know. I'll ask them. That they will be able to advise me, I'm sure. So there you are, getting even more classy. By the way, if you've got any suggestions or anything else to hang up behind me, and then probably the glass cabinet will go when I get my sofa bed there, because there won't be room for that. And maybe we'll hang something else up where that is, kind of on the wall there. We could have various different pictures hanging up there. By the way, if you're wondering who makes the pictures, because I now have hanging behind me pictures that are about 4 foot by 2 foot big, very nice, and they're like a canvas printed on the pictures are printed onto a canvas and then put on a frame. It's my brother-in-law that makes those, Martin. This is something new he's trying now. He's not ready to do it with normal customers. He's kind of experimenting with me at the moment. So, I mean, I do pay for them. You know, I don't see why he should do them at a loss. But he's trying them out with me, and he'll be able to do those soon. So when he starts doing those, I'll let you have his website if you want to have a look and perhaps have one done for yourself. But I tell you what, they're lovely, these pictures. Really colourful, the way he does them, and it's so good. I remember I bought someone one once, didn't I? As a Christmas present. Now, what was it? Oh, that's it. No, it wasn't a Christmas present. It was just a general present to someone. That was about 5 years ago. Just me and someone else being stupid in this picture. Okay, Tom writes, on the subject of trains, like you, I love train travel. Yeah, me too. I love it. Although James Dean was saying the other day, he finds it much more comfortable on a coach than a train. Because I can understand what he's saying. On trains, the seats don't actually go down, do they? You're going to sit and bolt upright and that's it. Huh? You mustn't, it's always so tempting, don't you find, to put your feet up, if it's an empty train, to put your feet up on the chair in front of you, which is totally not allowed. I think you can get a fine for that now in the UK. I'm sure you can. Now, I have to admit, on occasions, two have actually done that, but I always put on the seat in front of me either a bag or a newspaper or something like that to put my feet up on. Although you're still supposed to not allow it, so it doesn't dirty the seats for whoever's going to sit on there next. It's not very pleasant, is it, to put your dirty old feet up on the, or dirty old shoes up on a seat like that. Tom says, I know it's not the cheapest way to go, but I do prefer it to taking a coach. Well, and of course a lot faster as well if you go on a train. I just find it fantastic that if I go from where I live, Bracknell, to Waterloo, I can do that in an hour on the train. Would take you about 2 hours in the car. Absolutely, with the traffic and all the mucking about. The best part is going from Richmond to Waterloo in the UK will take you by train about 20 minutes. I mean, and it just, you look at these cars sitting there in their queues of traffic through London, because that's the worst part of the journey, Richmond through to Waterloo. That's where all the traffic is. And 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, it's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. And the train just whisks past all of them, doesn't it? I'll tell you what I miss about the trains, Tom, and that is the old slam doors. All the trains that I've been on in, excuse me, all the trains I've been on in the last few years have these sliding doors. You push a button, psst, and it opens and closes again automatically. Well, I mean, you've got to push the button to open it, but they all close automatically when they're, I don't know, the driver pushes another button at his end, or the guard, or whatever. Excuse me. And I do miss the old slam doors, and they were really old, heavy old trains they were. And you had to turn a lock and push the door open, and then you'd have to slam it. You couldn't just close it gently, you'd have to slam the door. I miss doing that. Tom says, as a foreigner, I can purchase a British Rail pass before coming over, which is actually a better deal than most of the advanced fares, as we can still travel free during peak times. Oh, that's a good deal. I'll be doing that before my trip this time also. Yes, please do. I mean, I don't know anything about those. The whole fare thing is very, very complicated, even for us British people now, since they split up British Rail into separate companies. I mean, it really is quite complicated. So, I mean, good luck to you. We had that whole email from Mark, who works on the trains, a couple of shows ago, wasn't it? Now, I've got a bit of a... I can't get this frog out of my throat. Can I just cough again? Just a minute. Oh dear, it's not coming up properly. Now, on the subject of tanning beds. Now, and I actually got funnily enough, an article of one of the newspapers that I've been meaning to read out over the last couple of years. Last couple of weeks, but we've never actually got to it. Now, let me see if I can find... There it is. Let me see how I can find this. I've got it. First of all, Tom says, tanning beds. Your opinion of tanning beds has just been confirmed by a study published in the British Medical Journal. Yeah, I was saying, and I've often said this, that I do not like tanning beds. Nasty, cancer-ridden things. They are dangerous. I've always thought that they were dangerous. It's not natural. It really isn't natural. The Lancet, your opinion on tanning beds has just been confirmed by a study published in the British Medical Journal, The Lancet, and also published on CNN on the 29th of July, which says that people who use tanning beds before age 30 increase their risk of melanoma by up to, now what do you think this figure is? 75%. That's an enormous figure. Making tanning beds almost as dangerous as smoking. Now, when you say almost as dangerous, I did also hear a radio programme talking about this. And they were saying they have upgraded sunbeds as a category 1 cause of cancer, putting it up there with smoking and various other things. Bitumen? Is it bitumen? I think it was something like that. I don't know if it says anything like that in this article here. But it's certainly up there in the same category now as smoking. Okay? I'm just trying to read if the other things... No, it doesn't say the other things on there. The article was from the Daily Express a couple of months ago now, actually. It was a bit of paper's been sitting there. Health experts are calling for a graphic cigarette-style warnings on sunbeds, advising that they can kill following damning reports. The new study reveals that they are killing at least 100 people a year, condemning hundreds more to death from skin cancer or leaving victims disfigured. Now, one of my friends from my old scout days, his name's Andy, he used to do sunbeds a lot. He was going on them every day, okay? And suddenly, he did get a little mole on his chest, which very quickly started growing, and he had to go in hospital kind of pronto, and he actually had it cut out, and he's got a big scar now where the mole was growing. They are so dangerous, so dangerous. But of course, you see, it's all that thing about wanting to look good again, isn't it? I mean, I've got to say, you know, I feel better when I've got a bit of a tan, but it will be tanned in the sun. Now, people tell us that you can still get cancer from being out in the sun too much. But I personally feel that you're a lot safer in the sun than you are under an artificial sun lamp. Surely you are, because it's natural. I'm not saying that people don't get cancer from the sun as well, because they do. But I wonder what the figures would be, or indeed, perhaps they can't tell. How many people get skin cancer from the sun as a percentage, you know, amount of people that go out there and sit in the sun, and some way of matching up the figures for people who get skin cancer going on sunbeds. I bet the sunbeds one is high because it's not natural. Is it? No, I don't know loads about it. Don't ask me questions about this sort. I'm just kind of working it out logically in my mind. What's what? Oh, there goes the 12 o'clock alarm signal. Just a minute, I'm going to turn it off now. You probably wonder why why these alarms are going off all the time, don't you? Very important, very important. Have a glass of water here as well, thank you very much. That's better. Yeah, don't go on the sunbeds. I mean, when I see some of the people walking around in the bars that I DJ or do karaoke and they're brown as anything, I say, oh, have you been on a holiday? No, I went for a sunbed. My friend Ron goes on sunbeds, and I tell him not to do it, but he don't listen. Looks are everything to some people. I mean, he's very fashion conscious, and he is good looking, yeah, but sunbeds, oh no. The article also says here, the true toll of binge tanning in Britain, fuelled by our obsession with having a year-round bronze look, may be far greater, with hundreds more cancer casualties than has been revealed, a hard-hitting report says. So it's scary, really. Just trying to see if there's anything else. There we are. Here we are. Look at this. Cancer charities have long been calling for legislation on sunbeds, including a ban on under 18s. Yeah, we've seen those TV programmes as well of little girls. I mean, very, very... Oh, can you hear that alarm going off? Oh, just a minute. Sorry, I know I should have turned that off earlier. Can you hang on a second while I just go and turn that off? Yes. Just a minute now. You can't really ignore that one, you see. Hang on, stop. That's it, done. Sorry about that. It's the It's my 12 o'clock alarm that I like going off. I have an alarm going off at 12 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, and 12 at night as well. Ah, dear. Why? Oh, I might tell you one day. Not today, though. We haven't got time to talk about it today. That's it. My friend Anthony, who comes in the place in Clapham, sussed it out the other day. He sussed it out. He's not stupid, is our Anthony, is he? Yeah, so where are we now? The report branded sunbeds a serious and growing health problem and needed to be brought under control in the same way as smoking. Yeah, I agree. It said that sunbeds were more powerful and potentially dangerous than they used to be. One tanning device available in the EU generated the equivalent, listen to this, of a year's worth of sun in just 2 minutes. That's the problem, you see. That's the problem. We want it all in such a short space of time, don't we? We're not willing to wait anymore. It's ridiculous sitting yourself. You see them. I mean, you see the instructions on some of these sunbeds. When I was a member of the private swimming pool up the road, they had one of these sunbeds in the changing rooms. And you put, I don't know, you put £1 in and you get 2 minutes worth of rays beaming out at you. I've got to be honest, you know, there were times when we haven't had sun during the winter here in the UK, and I look, oh, shall I go in that for a couple of minutes? And I never did. I didn't go in there at all because I was scared of the thing. And there were these two lads in there once, and they were as brown as anything, these boys. And I'm sorry, I had to say something. I said, yeah, you know, oh, you shouldn't go under there, mate. And I told him about my friend, you know, who had the chest bit cut out. And they kind of, yeah, okay, mate. And, you know, they didn't take any notice of me. So dangerous. Let's have a look here. That's about it, really. That's about it. And then they've got a story here of a mother who was killed after a life spent maintaining her tan under their ultraviolet rays. This lady, 44, she was only 44, died of skin cancer after becoming addicted to tanning booths as a teenager. Terrible. This woman started using sunbeds when they first came out and everyone was going crazy. I had no idea they were dangerous. Nobody knew at first. Yeah, it's like the old smoking, isn't it? The older people, pensioners, will remember that smoking was portrayed as being good for you at one point. It really was. And then years later, we found out they had cancer, and all the smoking companies were saying, oh, you've got no proof, and all this. Oh, it's dreadful. Dreadful the way that to make another dollar, companies are allowed to continue selling their products even though they're killing people. And here we are now at that stage, I think, with sunbeds. Other people would come out. Sorry, I've got to put my clock back on. I've got a clock in front of me, and it tells me what time to finish the show. You see, because it has to be exactly 57 minutes long for the radio stations. Yeah, I think sunbeds are at that now, and these companies wriggle and writhe, don't they? You've got no proof, they say, for years. Tobacco companies told us they've got no proof. Yes, they have. Hardened smokers would tell you that there's no proof. But surely, deep down at the back of their minds, they know. Slowly they're killing themselves. Yes, I know. You get the stories of people who are in their 90s who have smoked for all of their lives and didn't get cancer. Well, lucky old you. What a shame it's not like that for most people. Most people who smoke have things that go wrong. Not necessarily cancer. There's emphysema, bronchitis, heart failure. What's that thing where your legs drop off or your arms? People lose limbs? Terrible. If there is anyone who's in pensionable years who is still smoking and have never had anything wrong with them, congratulations. Well done. You're very, very lucky. This article about the sunbeds increases cancer possibility by 75%. Now, my guess is it would be like giving up smoking if you stopped doing the sunbeds. Within a period of time, probably not that long, you would return to having the same possibilities of getting cancer as people that do not go on sunbeds. So don't think, just because you've been going on sunbeds for ages and ages, but there's no point now. You might as well carry on. No, that's the wrong attitude to take. Give up now. The same with the people with smoking. If you give up now, each day that goes past, each hour, each minute that goes past, if you give up one of these bad things now, with each minute that goes past, your chances of getting cancer reduce. And eventually, you have the same likelihood of getting this awful, terrible disease that, let's be honest, they can do some marvellous things about now. They can't cure it all, but they can do a lot that they couldn't do a few years ago. You'd be at the same possibility of getting this awful disease than everyone else. Your thoughts on that, please? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, Tom says, on the subject of giving money to homeless people, I actually did a whole segment on my show devoted to this topic, but I repeat myself, no, I do not give money to the homeless anymore, especially in a large city like Chicago and probably London as well. There are numerous programs available to help the homeless that are paid for by my tax dollars. Yes, we have a lot of... from the way I've seen it portrayed on TV programmes and that sort of thing, no one in London needs to be homeless. You are put in a bed and breakfast by the local authority. Most people who are homeless have chosen to be that way. Don't know why. I don't understand why. There are hostels, there are bed and breakfasts, there's lots for the homeless people. Most people, it seems to me that most people on the streets have chosen to be there. I can't work it out either, Tom. Do I get sad about them? Yes, I do. But what can you do? If they don't want the help, what can you do? I see what you're saying there, Tom. My tax dollars also fund shelters and soup kitchens throughout the city. We have those too. I'm all for these programmes as they emphasise getting the homeless off drugs and alcohol and off the streets into productive lives. By giving panhandlers money, I'm not helping them get off the streets, only to buy more booze and cigarettes. And that's exactly why I don't. Because you give them the money and then you see them 10 minutes later with another can of Tennent's in their hand, don't you? That's how they are. I've also seen this behaviour from the panhandlers where they will beg for food or money to buy food, and if someone gives them food, they'll be all thankful until the person is out of view and they will then just put the food in the bin. So that's why I don't do that anymore, and that's from Tom. So thank you, Tom. Nice to hear from you, sir. Very nice to hear from you indeed, OK? Do join in, boys and girls. The email address is chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. OK, then. Robert in Iceland has kindly agreed to write us a story about elves. Okay? It's going to be in several parts. I'm not quite sure how many parts he's going to do yet. All right? But here comes part 1 of The Elves of Iceland by Robert Pellis. Chapter 1. From the dark corners of history, a race forgotten. Modern-day Iceland is much like the rest of the Western world in its culture. And yet, to those that have the gift, in truth, the lives of man have troubled not the realm of the elves, and why should it? Elves are so very different to that of man in so many ways. However, the root of the race known as elves can be traced back to a time before man, a time when indeed dragons did walk the earth, a time before man was cast out from Eden. Elves learned very early on to fear this race that they had been given governance over the earth. It was upon the Isle of Iceland that a meeting of the elders was to take place. That place was called the Waterfall of the Gods. This waterfall can be found even unto this day in the northeastern part of Iceland, and was said to be the place from which the icons of the heathen gods were cast forth into the rushing waters, and the lives of man turned towards a Christian God. Elves are long-lived, indeed almost immortal, and one does not live for so long without being humorous. For indeed life is funny in all of its forms. One of the many joys of being an elf is to make fun of man. For he is such a prize in the way he thinks himself so important and proud. And into our story come 2 young elves named Swinky Chops and Pingly Dell. They were born under a red moon on the Isle of Flaty. Red skies are rather worrying to elves, for somewhere in their distant past a story had been passed down about a red sky meaning danger. And this did not bode well for their adventure, as we shall see. Now, the truth to this tale is that the red sky was the result of a barn fire, and therefore the story took hold as did the fire. Swinky Chops and Pingly Dell wanted to make their fortune, and so it was on that one dark and windy night that they left their island home and headed across the straits to the mainland of Iceland. Paddling their little canoe, they entered the mouth of the longest ford in Iceland, named Eyjafjordur, which means Island Fjord. Soon they passed the island of Hersey, and under cover of darkness made their way towards the town humans call Dalvik, or Valley Bay. Swinky Chops had other reasons for leaving, as we shall soon find out. Dalvik is home to the largest community of elves in northern Iceland. Here they farm the mountain mice, from which they gather the fur for their clothing and meat for food. The previous summer, Swinky Chop's girlfriend, Bimblepuss, had also made this journey. Bimblepuss was a feisty elf who took great delight in all forms of fighting. Indeed, she came from a long line of warrior elves. She was both cursed and blessed, with an adventurous spirit. That previous summer, Swinky Chops had pledged his love for her, and in return she smacked him right in the mouth, and henceforth their love was sealed. Binglepuss said, "Oh, Swinky, oh, Swinky, I love you, but I must first journey forth to the land of Bretland to slay the lowland troll that hath stolen our gold from our lands. I shall return in a year and a day to claim my love." It should be noted that when elves, and certainly warrior elves, claim their love, well, it can be an interesting time for all. And there ends part 1. Okay, now, as I say, we're going to run this little elf story, kindly written for us from Robert in Iceland, over the next few shows. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to be. I think it might be open-ended, so I'll just keep writing until we say thank you very much. Let's wipe that up. So let us know what you think about that. Stories on the show. I quite like the idea. Reading out and trying to do the voices. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Part 2 of the Elves of Iceland and much more in the next exciting episode of United Kingdom Talk. My name's Chris Reardon. I'll see you on the next show. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.